we are going to try to just do a quick review of both the area model and the partial products model with multiplying multi-digit numbers. I'm going to warn you right up front, my dogs are behind me going a little crazy. So if they get too loud, I'll stop, but I think they'll be fine. So we're going to start out looking at, let's just take 58 times 72. Okay, and we'll start with the area model. I always begin with a rectangle. You want to make your rectangle large enough that you're not going to be making your numbers all squishy. I'm going to begin with that 58 and I'm going to decompose it. So I'm going to think of that 58 as 50 plus 8. And since I have two numbers, I'm going to make two columns. 50's at the top of one, 8's at the top of one. I'm going to do the same thing for the 72, except that my 72 is going to go straight down the left side. So here's 70 plus 2, two numbers, two rows. I'm going to have four partial products here. So I'm going to begin by multiplying 70 times 50. And a nice way to think of that is what's 7 times 5. I know 7 times 5 is 35. And remember that this is 7 tens and 5 tens. So 7 tens makes that 35 tens, and 5 tens makes this 350 tens. A nice way to think of it is the total number of zeros I have in my two factors has to equal the numbers in my product. I'm going to come over here in this cell next, and remember I always go to the left first and then to the top. So here I see a 2 times 50. Well, we can do that mentally. We know two groups of 50 is 100. Over in this cell, if I look all the way to the left, I'm seeing that 70. To the top, I see an 8. So I'm thinking 7 times 8. I know 8 times 7 is 56. And since it's 7 tens, I've got 56 tens. And then in this cell right here, over to the left, I've got my 2. To the top, I've got an 8, and that's 16. Now, at this point, remember, if it's easier for you to add columns, you can do that and then add those partial products. I'm going to go across, though. I tend to go this way. Do what works for you. I'm going to look at 3,500 plus 500. I know that's 4,000, and then I have the 60 left over. So I've got 4,060. And then over here, 100 plus 16. Well, that's easy. I have 116. And what I do now is I add those together, and I'm going to get 6, 7, 1, and a 4. 4,176. Now again, this is the area model. And we use the area model and partial products because in fourth grade, we cannot use the standard algorithm. So it's important that we understand both of these models. I'll put a new slide in here, and let's take a look at Let's take a look at partial products with this one. So we'll use the same exact problem. We're going to do 58 times 72. And we're going to start out looking more like a standard algorithm, 58 times 72. But I'm going to come over to the side and remind myself that what that means is 50 plus 8 times 70 plus 2. And over here, it's really important that we remember everything in this parentheses. The 50 and the 8 has to be multiplied by everything in this parentheses. So we're going to kind of keep a track of that. I'm going to start out over here looking at my ones, my 8 times 2. And I see that over here with 8 times 2. So I know that 8 times 2 is 16. There are my ones. That's my first partial product. The second thing I'm going to do is look at my ones with my 10. So remember that 5 is actually 50. So here I'm looking at 50 times 2. And I know 50 times 2 is 100. That's my second partial product. I'm then going to take my 7, and remember that's in a 10 spot, so that's 70. And I'm going to do 70 times 8. So I'm looking here at 70 times 8. And again, I remember 7 times 8 is 56, and since it's 7 tens times 8, my answer is going to show 56 tens, or 560. And then the last one that I want to look at is my tens and my tens. 7 tens multiplied by 5 tens. That's the same as 70 times 50. So 70 times 50. Same thing, I'm thinking 7 times 5 is 35, and it's going to be 3,500. So once again, these are my partial products. And when I find their sum or add them together, I've got 6. 1 plus 6 is 7. 5 and 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, and 1 and 3 is 4. I have that same answer of 4,176. So these are partial products. I could have done the same thing over here just by answering them this way. I'm going to get the same exact partial products, and I'm going to get the same exact answer. So I hope that that jogs your memory and helps you out with your homework assignment or just practicing your multi-digit multiplication.